Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion for the adoption of the votes of President of yesterday, moved by Senator Dende and seconded by Senator Tony Nwoye, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The votes on proceeding of Wednesday, the 25th day of May 2025 is hereby adopted. Announcement. I wish to acknowledge the presence of staff and students of Aviation City International School, Airport Road, Abuja, who are here in our gallery to observe the Senate proceedings. You are welcome, and may God bless you. You may sit down. And also announce the presence of staff and students of Greater Height International Academy, Kuje, Abuja, who are also here in our gallery to observe the Senate proceedings of today. You are welcome, and may God bless you. You may sit down. We also have in our gallery today to observe the proceedings the staff and students of Crystal Brains College, Kubwa, Abuja. You are most welcome, young boys and girls. May God continue to bless you as you are the leaders of tomorrow. You may wish to sit down. Thank you. Any petition? No petition. Point of, okay, what order is Senator Kenneth, Engineer Kenneth Emeka?
Order 41 and 51. Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I come under 41 and 51. With your kind permission, may I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Should I read the order?
I need to read the order. We are familiar with it. There's no time.
Thank you, Mr. President. This petition is coming as a result of a cry from my senatorial zone and the entire Southeast. I read, and the motion is sponsored by me and some other distinguished senators from the Southeast as co-sponsors. The Senate note that Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal...
Okay, listen. Senator is supposed to have read the synopsis, just a summary of it. In any case, he met me this morning to tell me that he has a motion in respect of the fact that there's money that are in various geopolitical zones for the New Hope Infrastructure Fund for is it irrigation
project?
For irrigation project, but Southeast was not allocated.
Yeah, completely excluded.
It's completely omitted. So he said he was going to bring a motion in respect of that. So those in favor that we allow him to bring this motion, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the ayes have it. You may now read your
Thank you, motion. Mr. President, distinguished colleague.
Do you have copies?
The copy, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
That's sharing it.
Summarize it and then we'll move ahead, please.
Okay. I remain Senator Engineer Kenneth representing Ebonyi Central Senatorial Zone. The Senate note that Section 4 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, 99 as amended, vests in the National Assembly the power to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of the Federation, or any part thereof. And that Section 14, subsection 3 and 4 further mandate the National Assembly to ensure equity, justice, and balanced development across the country through legislation, including the Appropriation Act. Also note that the National Appropriation Act is the most important policy and legal instrument through which the federal government allocates resources for national development, ensuring equitable distribution of resources and socio-economic transformation. Aware that in the 2025 Appropriation Act, the sum of 3.2 trillion naira was allocated under the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund, out of which 380 billion was earmarked specifically for irrigation development projects to be implemented through the various river basin development authorities as part of the federal government's strategy to boost agricultural production, ensure food security, and create jobs across the country. Observe that although the intention of the project is national, the actual implementation plan are designed excluded Anambra Imo River Basin Development Authority, which is the only river basin authority serving the entire southeast geopolitical zone. Also observe specifically that the current breakdown as allocation as follows. One, I run the breakdown of the.
No, just go ahead. It's depicted on the motion, so just move ahead. You don't need to read that.
Okay. Concerned that the total exclusion of Southeast Geopolitical Zone and Anambra Imo River Basin Development Authority from this critical national development intervention is not only unjustifiable, but also contradicts the spirit of equity, justice, and balanced development that forms the cornerstone of the Renewed Hope agenda of Mr. President. Also concerned that Southeast Zone is blessed with vast arable and fertile land across Enugu, Ebonyi, Imo, Abia, and Anambra State, and has historically contributed significantly to Nigeria's agricultural sector, with cash crops such as oil palm, cassava, yam, rice, and vegetable. Recognizing that a recent open data source report indicates that the Southeast accounts for over 30% of national yam production, produces over 15% of national Nigerian cassava, and remain a major hub for rice farming through schemes like IFAD, VCDP, and Fadama project, among others. Cognizance that there are ongoing and proposed irrigation projects and dams across the region that would readily benefit from the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund, including but not limited to Ozara, Okangu, Agro-Business Cluster, which is federal government project. Yeah. The Ivo Dam Irrigation Project, Itemamwego Rice Farm Dam, Amuazera Et Dam, and Ifite Ogware Omo Dam in Anambra State. We worry that the exclusion of these projects of national importance and other critical interventions not only risk undermining the region's agricultural potential and the current administration's economic rejuvenation effort, but could also deepen the perennial perception of marginalization and inequity in federal project and resource distribution. Concerned that the 10th Senate, as corrective Senate, constitutional guardian of equity, unity, and national cohesion, should act to address this strategic oversight in the spirit of national interest, equity, and sustainable development. Accordingly resolve the prayers. 1. Urge the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, through the Federal Ministries of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Water Resources and Sanitation, to urgently address the observed imbalance in the allocation of the 380 billion Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund for food security and irrigation development. 2. Set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the remote and immediate causes of this strategic oversight that resulted in the exclusion of Southeast, and report back to Senate within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Thirdly, mandate the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation to make provision under omnibus or discretionary allocation within the 2025 budget to urgently intervene in the irrigation infrastructure deficit in the southeastern region. Finally, mandate the Senate Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure the timely and effective implementation of this resolution. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I hereby submit.
Yes,
Thank you very
we
much.
have a second and then we go to prayer because this, I think, is probably an omission. We shouldn't go that length. It probably is an omission on the part of those who have the duty of doing this. So there's no point we go into prolonged debate. Can you please second the motion and then we go to the prayer? It could be an omission. Let's put down.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. In seconding the motion, I would like to do a simple correction that was not in the page. Mr. President, in seconding the motion, I would like to add one or two things because my colleague omitted the Uzuakole, Ibere, Ubuhu, and Abam and Aruchuku Dam. The dams are there. This is the best rice they cultivate. We have more rice than even Ebonyi State.
Thank you. So, seconded. Thank you very much.
I seconded the motion with amendment to the secretariat. And the
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Minority Leader, since you are the Minority Leader and you say you want to speak so that we go to the prayer. It could probably be an omission. We have drawn the attention of the authorities concerned. They will correct that. We have a listening president, somebody who listens, somebody who cares. So nobody is 100% perfect. It could be an omission, and what he has done now is a wake-up call. And they've gotten the message, and they'll correct that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, I just rise to support this motion and to say that oversight should be corrected. But at the same time, Mr. President, if you look at number 8. You see Upper Niger River Development Agency, and then you have North Central and Northwest, Mr. President, with a meager 24 billion.
Southeast got zero.
While a combined something of Adeja and Jumari agency has 66. I just want to plead that in making the adjustment, the case for North Central should be adjusted to be in pari passu with the other zones. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm sure they are listening. They will correct the anomaly. Okay, Senator Alero, let's close it from there.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I also want to contribute to this. Mr. President, I think we should be very mindful of commenting on the infrastructure renewed hope projects, because we should see it holistically. This is just a segment of the renewed hope agenda on the infrastructure. We have a road infrastructure, we have power infrastructure, we have let me learn, please. Yes, Mr. President, I have the floor, and let me.
You are protected.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President. So, in doing this, we should consider what has been allocated in the other sectors. I'm not saying that the Southeast should be excluded. No, on the contrary, they should also be included. But we have to bear in mind what the whole infrastructure project are all about. Development of the whole country, irrespective of the state and zone.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, of recent, there was a release of over 1.3 trillion naira, and the Southwest had the lion's share. And I believe if you go deep into it, if you check the ministry's budget, you will see some balancing. And this thing is just being released gradually.
Thank you for the guidance.
So we shouldn't jump into conclusions.
Thank you for the guidance.
We shouldn't just jump into conclusions.
Thank you,
that
Mr.
is
President.
imbalance, that is sidelining. Rather, we should wait till we get the true picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to lend my voice. I'll be brief. From what, with due respect to Senator Alero,
who said lion share to the southwest. When will southeast even have lion share in any particular project? Mr. President, if this is an omission, it is an expensive omission. The southeast cannot continually to be treated the way Nigeria is treating the southeast. Let me give you an instance. Out of the dams that were listed here on the southeast, Ivo Dam was last funded about 12 years ago with a 5 billion naira spent on it, and it has been abandoned by Nigeria for the last 12 years. I had written 3 letters to the Ministry of Water Resources. We have done everything possible to see if they can bring up Ivo Dam, and here a zone is allocated 66 billion and the entire south is at 0. What kind of omission is that, Mr. President?
Thank you.
We should be treated better than this, sir.
Thank you. Senator Wamako.
Mr. President,
Senator Aliyu,
my dear colleagues, Mr. President, a very ordinary person. Mr. President, in support of what Aliyu has just observed, I want to also point out that look at the prayer of the mover of this motion, asking for 380 billion, which is bigger put together than all other applications in all zones. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's be guided by common sense and reasoning. Thank you. I do also.
Senator Mohammed Goji, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I just want to talk generally. You see, this is a very good issue. As that's pointing out something that's going on. Many of us have been crying of marginalization. Many of us have cried on several issues where North is completely was neglected. And I'm sure this may not be the end. Mr. President, no, I want you to hear this story. You are the policy makers. No, Sekaji. President, I want to draw the attention of the makers of the Renewed Hope agenda. I want them to bear in mind that every part of this country is part of Nigeria, and every part of this country deserves infrastructural development. It is not wise in allocating resources to sometimes over-allocate to one zone at the expense of other zones. Here on this floor, I talk about the way Northeast was completely neglected in terms of road infrastructure, where trillions are being spent on some section of the country, no cover is being spent in the Northeast. We said it. We also raised the issue of agriculture, where money was being allocated to some zones, and our zone was not there. So, Mr. President is for Nigeria, and it's for other Nigerians. The makers of this Hope agenda should be advised to bear in mind the diversity and the necessity to cover every section of this country in allocated resources. It's not only this one. There are so many areas, and that if we want to go through one by one, we will continue to debate. So I think there's general need for them to review their position and ensure that every part of this country, whether southeast, southwest, south, northeast, we all need development, and we need to be allocated adequately and fairly and equitably in whatever they do. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. We have just discussed with the leader of the Senate, and I told even the mover of the motion that this issue is something that can be dealt with administratively. I told him that we can call the minister, talk to him, or the DG budget, that there's an omission here, and that will be corrected. Because as human beings, means we cannot be perfect all the time. It could be a genuine omission, right? So, and it is on that premise that the leader just approached me now. We've taken it upon ourselves, the leadership will interface with the relevant, office of the executive arm of the government so that we can resolve this issue. It's not something, it's our government. And we have a president that listens to, the plight of his people. We have never gone to him to ask for anything of this kind of thing. I mean, this kind of thing without, getting resolved immediately. Somebody who listens. And even the ministers, they always listen. Whatever we bring to them that are in the interest of the nation, they listen and get that done. So let us not over debate this matter. We have just consulted. We'll, go ahead and meet the relevant office to sort out this matter. What we need is result, to see that there's equity in the distribution of the wealth of this country, and we know the government is doing very much in respect to that. So please, let's not overflow this issue. Leader, can you just one or two words so that we get this in line with what discussed with you right now, so that we can move ahead?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We heard ourselves very clearly and very loudly as well, and I believe it's an issue that can be debated all day, because in every geopolitical zone that you turn to, there will be one issue or the other that they would have wished were handled differently. My own humble appeal to our colleagues, and by way of also a motion, is to say that we step down further consideration of this motion to allow time for the leadership of this Senate to interface with the Honorable Minister of Water Resources. Luckily, the mover of this motion, distinguished Senator Engineer Kenneth Emeka Eze, is the one coordinating for us right now the Senate Committee on Water Resources. So he's the deputy chairman, and as far as I'm concerned, we also work with him and his committee in interfacing with the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, and then we'll revert back to this house. I so move.
So you move for the that it should be stand down. Then somebody will second. Move that the motion will be stand down.
Sir,
your own motion is okay.
That was my motion.
Okay, leader,
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion ably moved by the Senate leader.
It should stood down, yeah. So, yeah, those in favor of the motion moved by the leader in order to resolve this issue amicably and the best manner possible, that this motion be stood down. Those in favor, and seconded by the minority leader, those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The leader of Senate. Order what? Okay, just in 2 minutes, because we have.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Aminu Abbas. My personal observation based on the need to avert communal clash through the indecent, non-diligent investigation of brutal murder of a politician in my constituency. I want to bring to the notice of this Senate that a politician called Thomas Zamfara was murdered on the 15th of last month in my constituency. And the police in the state apprehended 9 suspects for the murder. And they were investigating the murder before police came from IRT, the department called IRT in Abuja, and took over the case. And before you knew it, we were told the suspects are going to be released. And I wrote to the IGP to tell him that IRT have no powers or responsibility to investigate murder case, but it should be transferred to the Department of Homicide so that they will do proper investigation. And it took us, the entire stakeholders of the local government, to plead with the community not to retaliate on this murder. However, to our dismay, 6 of the suspects were released after I wrote my letter to the IGP. And 1 of the suspects, or 2 of the suspects, issued a video that they were forced in the state to confess on the scene. The state command had to also issue a statement that nobody was forced. So there is conflict between IRT and the state police command in Adamawa State. I want to bring this to you because if we didn't take action, there may be a retaliation and there will be communal clash in that community. So I explain and I leave to the Senate leadership to decide or to instruct IGP to take this case now, since there is conflict between the two departments of police that investigated the case, take it to homicide department for proper investigation so that the people will be prosecuted properly. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, your request is noted. My sympathies, and would direct that the chairman of police affairs should liaise with relevant authorities to ensure that the investigation is carried out and justice is done. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Corporate Social Responsibility Bill 2025 HB 242. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Corporate Social Responsibility Bill 2025, HB 242, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Corporate Social Responsibility Bill 2025, HB 242, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Buhari Abdul Fatai on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 806. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 806, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 806, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Karimi Sunday Steve on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 821. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 821, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 821, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Etim Basi Aniekan on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 823. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025 SB 823, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, Alteration Bill 2025. SB 823, first reading taken. Distinguished Senator Ireti. Distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe. Okay, so please, you will come back so that we have a 5-minute discussion with the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Issa Jibril on the Customs and Excise Management Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 834. Mr. President, may we to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Customs and Excise Management Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 834, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Customs and Excise Management Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 834, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oluranti on the Federal Highways Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 835. Mr. President, may we to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Highways Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 835, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Highways Amendment Bill 2025, SB 834. Sorry, 855, first reading. 835, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate. Leader, you may wish to approach the chair.
Mr. President,
Order, please. Let me call you. Senator DK Plank, take your seat. Senator Udende, take your seat. Senator Karim Stip, Sunday Stip, take your seat. Senator Adaramadu from Ekiti State, take your seat.
Distinguished colleagues, no matter how tight the schedule is,
We intend to have 15 minutes closed session before we depart. So please just take your seat so that we can conclude the business of the day.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that pursuant to Order 1B of our rules, we take what is listed as the second order for the day as our first order, meaning that we'll step down Order 1 for another legislative day. And if that is taken, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it then will mean that the first order of the day is a motion standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Emmanuel Odende Menga on the demise of late distinguished Senator Joseph Ioshaga Aka Gaga, who lived from 1956 to 2025. Mr. President, if my motion is seconded and supported by this Senate, you may then invite distinguished Senator Emmanuel Udende to move the motion. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that we stand down the order of the day number 1 and take order 2 as number 1. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the first business of the day be stepped down to another legislative date. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes. Leader of the Senate. Just before you go into the motion proper, let me read correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, forwarding of Rivers State Government 2025 Appropriation Bill for consideration by the National Assembly. Further to the nullification of the 2025 budget of Rivers State by the Supreme Court, please find forwarded herewith the 2025 Appropriation Bill for Rivers State for consideration by the Senate. The distinguished Senate may wish to recall that Rivers State is currently I'll take this again.
Chamber is ready, sir.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, this is a correspondence from Mr. President. Forwarding of Rivers State Government 2025 Appropriation Bill for consideration by the National Assembly. Further to the nullification of the 2025 budget of Rivers State by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, please find forwarded herewith the 2025 Appropriation Bill for Rivers State for consideration of the Senate. The distinguished Senate may wish to recall that Rivers State is currently under emergency rule, which was proclaimed and duly gazetted in March 2025. Regulation 4, subsection 2F of the Emergency Rule 2025 requires authorization for expenditure from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of Rivers State for its activities. In the absence of the State Assembly, it's expected that the National Assembly acts on that behalf. Hence, the request for the approval of the Senate for the Rivers State Government 2025 Appropriation Bill.
The appropriation bill for the year 2025 is in the total sum of 1,481 billion, wherein the sum of 324 billion is for infrastructure, both ongoing and new projects, while the sum of 166 billion is for the health sector, including 5 billion for free drugs for treatment of malaria and other common ailments. The sum of 75.6 billion is proposed for the educational sector, and the sum of 31.4 billion is proposed for agricultural purposes. The spending plan prioritizes investment in critical sectors of the states, such as infrastructure, health, including drugs for malaria and other common ailments, education, and also agriculture, which is projected to generate approximately 6,000 jobs. Accordingly, I hereby forward the Rivers State Government 2025 Appropriation Bill and trust that it will receive the expeditious consideration of the Senate. Please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is referred to the Ad hoc Committee on Emergency Rule in Rivers State, the Senate Ad hoc Committee, to revert to us as soon as practicable. Leader of the Senate, the final item before we go into closed session for a few minutes.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, once again, the first order of the day is the motion standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Emmanuel Udende on the demise of late distinguished Senator Joseph Yoshaga Akagaga, who lived from 1956 to 2025. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Emmanuel Udende Menga to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator Udende.
Thank you, Mr. President, my esteemed colleagues. My name is Emmanuel Memga Udende. I represent Benue Northeast. My motion is on the demise of distinguished Senator Joseph Yoshaya Kagege, who lived between 1956 to 2025. The Senate notes with this sorrow the death of Senator Joseph Yoshaya Kagege, a distinguished Nigerian statesman, military officer, legal luminary, former senator of the Federal Republic, who passed away on 19 May 2025 at the age of 69. Also note that Senator Kagege was born on 5th May 1956 at Ibega Constitutional Local Government Area of Benue State, and led an exemplary life of national service that spanned military, legal, political, and traditional sectors of the society. Also aware that Senator Kagege began his military training at Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, Kaduna in 1976, and later proceeded to the world-renowned Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, United Kingdom, 1977 to 1979, where he graduated as a commissioned officer of the Nigerian Army. Also aware that he served in various sensitive and strategic positions, including Adjutant 3rd Provost Battalion, Jos 1983 to 1985, Officer Commanding D Company 231 Battalion, Maiduguri 1986 to 1987, Commanding Officer 195 Battalion, Ojo Cantonment, Lagos 1990 to 1991.
Directing Staff and Deputy Chief Instructor, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, 1991 to 1994, where he mentored and evaluated mid-career military officers in operational command and ethics, served at various times in Army headquarters, and was highly regarded for professionalism and loyalty. Recalls that in August 1998, during the Nigerian delicate democratic transition, he was appointed military administrator of Katsina State, where he governed effectively until May 1999 and was instrumental in creating a peaceful political environment that supported election and transition from military to civilian rule. Notes that after his retirement from military service, Senator Akagege transitioned to a successful legal career. He held a Bachelor of Laws degree, a Master's of Laws degree from University of Jos, and a PhD in International Economic Law from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He was called to bar in 1987. Also note that he established a reputable law firm, J.R. Akagege & Co., and made chambers through which he provided legal service to individuals, institutions, and community. Remembers that in 2007, Senator Akagege was elected on the platform of People's Democratic Party to represent Benue North-East Senatorial District in the 6th Senate of the National Assembly between 2007 to 2011. Observed that during his tenure in the Senate, he served with distinction on several committees and was known for his deep legal insight and advocacy for rule of law and constitutional development. He was a vocal contributor to debates on national security, justice reform, military welfare, and good governance. He served as a publicity secretary of the Northern Senators Forum, helping to contribute to coordinate positions and enhance regional collaborations. Further notes that he was a traditional title holder bearing the revertive title of Ambe Ukonshisha and was a trustee of the Jetra Development Association, playing a significant role in community development and peace building across Benue State. Recognizes that Senator Akagege's legacy is that of principled patriot who served Nigeria loyally in peace and in conflict, in uniform and in parliament, and whose life symbolized discipline, humility, and service above self. And also recognizes that he is survived by his beloved wife, Chief Mrs. Joyce Bafan Akagege, and their children, and leaves behind a grateful constituency and a nation that benefited from his labors. Accordingly, resolves to observe a minute's silence in honor of the late Senator Joseph Yosha Akagege and send a high-powered Senate delegation to pay condolence visit to his family and the government and people of Benue State, especially Benue North-East Senatorial District. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Alero.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, it is with a heavy heart that I stand to contribute the debate arising from the demise of my very close friend, political associate, whom we had worked together in the 6th Senate. He was a highly principled person, a patriot, and he had a very distinguished career in the military. He was also the military administrator of Katsina State, and during the short period he was in Katsina witnessed a lot of developmental projects. Mr. President, not only that, he is a voice in the Arewa Consultative Forum. He was very, very patriotic and very concerned about the problems of Nigeria. His loss is not only a loss to his family, to his senatorial district, as mentioned by the mover of this motion to the Benue State, but the whole country is a general. We mourn the death of Senator Akagigi, and we pray that his soul will rest in perfect peace. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Zam. Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Dr. Taitu Zam. I represent Benue Northwest Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to condole my distinguished colleague, Senator Odende, from whose constituency Benue State has lost this great patriot, as clearly elucidated in Senator Odende's motion. Distinguished Senator Joseph Akagege actually distinguished himself in all areas of public service. He is now late, but his monumental legacies in public service speak for him. As a military officer, he rose to the level of becoming a military administrator. That is a sign of distinction. In politics, he served as a senator of the Federal Republic, which is the highest legislative assembly in the country. That is also a sign of distinction. As a family man, his beloved family and children would attest to the fact that he was a caring father. As a Benue citizen, he ranks among those that made a big mark in public service and in the development of the state in all sectors. We miss him dearly, but we pray that may Almighty God accept his soul in heaven, and may God grant his family the fortitude to bear his absence. We pray for the repose of his soul through Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, we acknowledge the motion by distinguished Senator Odende, and I thank all of us, our elder statesman, distinguished Senator Adamo Eleru has spoken on our behalf. So we go into the prayer. Prayer 1, observe a minute silence in honor of late Senator Joseph Akakage. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, send high powers Senate delegation to pay condolence visit to his family and the government and people of Benue State, especially the Benue North East Senatorial District, and even also attend the burial ceremony. Those in support of prayer 2 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. May we rise for a minute silence. Yes, additional prayer. Your mic.
In view of the contributions that Akagege rendered to Nigeria in all its ramifications, I urge the Senate to recommend that a national monument be named after him.
Those in support, or is there any seconder? No seconder. So your additional prayer is noted. And the soul of our late colleague, distinguished Senator Joseph Joshage Agahagege, rest in perfect peace. Leader of the Senate. may wish to move a motion for us to go into closed session.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate now goes into a closed-door session to enable us to discuss some matters of urgent public importance. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I second the motion that the Senate goes into a closed session. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that we revert to closed session to consider matters of national importance. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Order, please.